Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Creative Life Studios. This is Carrie, and I'm always trying to find just really cool, new and different things for you guys in the world of Christian art and Bible journaling and faith journaling. And I came across this particular company, actually through a friend at church. She had this one, and which I'll show you here in a second. And I was just really intrigued with the idea of how it was set up. If you know me at all, you know I have been a hardcore heavy planner for years. I don't know, 5 years, 4 years, I don't know, a really long time. And I've always liked the idea of being able to mix and match and decorate. I didn't decorate a lot, but when I did, hey, have some fun. But I always felt like there wasn't enough space to do certain things in, and that's when I found this particular planner. So it's actually called Christian Planner, and it is from a company called Christian Planner, and their website is christianplanner.com. And what makes it different is it is meant to help you figure out a way to incorporate your spiritual life into your daily planning. And actually, I've got two things here, and we'll kind of compare and contrast because they've got the regular planner, which I'll show you here in a second, and they have a thing that's called their Faith and Focus, which we'll go over here in a second. So I just want to show you, I'm going to move this one out of the way. And it's hardback, has a couple of little ribbons. It has this little thing to keep it closed. It has a pen holder. This one, the regular planner, is a 7x10. So, slightly smaller than a piece of paper. Actually, I've got a piece of paper right here. I'll give you a really good idea of how. So this is your regular 8.5x11 piece of paper, and we're just going to set the planner on top of it just to kind of give you an idea about how big the page size is. Obviously, the book size is slightly bigger, but just kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. They do offer an undated planner, but I'm very anti-undated planners just because I don't want to spend the time to have to put it all in there. So here's a couple cool things. It tells you about why they do things the way they do, which is super cool. What the things for, every week, every day, every month. And I haven't done this yet, but I will. I'm not gonna lie, I have a little bit of a fear of messing it up, so I haven't done it. But it starts out the year with a vision board, so plenty of spaces to put your goal outfits, your goal races if you're a runner, your goals in life, your goals in work, whatever it might be. And then it has a couple of places to put some bucket list items, things you want to do in 2020, things you want to do in the next 5 years, maybe a lifetime goal, I don't know. Then there's also, I'm going to flip it a little bit, things for you that you want to focus on. What are the healthy habits that you want to get into doing on daily or often, 1 to 2 times a week, 1 to 2 times a month, and 1 to 3 times a year. And that might seem kind of weird, like, oh, what would I want to do 1 to 3 times a year? Maybe it's something like go away by myself for a couple days and reconnect with God. Maybe it's, make sure to make the effort to go visit that family member that might not be my favorite, but I know she needs Jesus. It's something about putting it in writing that you're almost held more accountable to do it. And I really think that's what this is about. And then here's another big place for you to be a little bit more concrete with your 2020 goals. Write down your goals that you'd like to accomplish this year. I kind of like they give some little examples over here. Things to do often, make my bed, which I don't do every day, give thanks, things 1 to 2 a year, volunteer, Bible study, 1 to 2 times a month, go on a retreat or run a 5K. I like that I kind of give you examples because sometimes you're like, well, I don't know, what am I going to put there? And it's definitely about being healthy spiritually and physically and emotionally. Maybe something you need to get used to doing either daily or 1 to 2 times a week is writing in a journal. A lot of people don't realize how cathartic and how transformative it can be just to get those emotions out that are kind of in your brain in a safe place where no one's ever going to see them. It's got your 2020 and 2021 year overview and all your little holidays, which is super handy. And then this is so just in case you're wondering why this isn't filled out, and I apologize, my thing is flickering really bad and I don't really know why. I didn't get this until I say April, sounds right in my brain, end of March, beginning of April, somewhere in that neighborhood, just in time to not need it because of the whole Corona thing, but whatever, we're still working it. So this is what a month would look like. Of course, has your month. It has a place for notes, and it has a couple of things over here as reflections. What blessings came into my life last month, and what accomplishments can I be proud of? So it gives you a chance to be like, let's take a moment before this month starts. Let's breathe. Let's think about what I've accomplished, and let's celebrate those. And then, of course, then it goes straight into action. How can I demonstrate my love for God and for others this month? So I love that it goes back and forth. Says, all right, let's celebrate what we've done, but let's not stay there. What can I do now in order to move forward? And I love that. And it always has a little scripture up here at the top. This one says, may the Lord give strength to his people. May the Lord bless his people with peace. Psalm 29:11. And then at the beginning of each month, I'm not sure why I have that written there. That's like February. At the beginning of each week, sorry, not month, it has this. So over here is what they would kind of be your place for your sermon notes. And then underneath, okay, so we've sat through our service, we've written our notes, we've taken our little things. Now here is a reflection place. Another reflection about the previous week. And what's super great is when you go to do your reflection for the month, you can look at those little reflections and be like, okay, which out of those stood out the most and had the most impact on my life? Or if you want, this reflection place could be, okay, sat through this service, wrote my notes. Now I want to reflect on how I can use that going forward. So it really could be used both ways. Over here is a big blank spot, which is super fun if you're me and you're like a doodler and or you like to sometimes express yourself in art or in writing or in typography, whatever that might be. A great little, and I like that they don't label it something specific. It can be Bible notes or sketching or preparing, and I've used it in a bunch of different ways when I was when I've worked in this so far. And then there's a place at the bottom again. We go from reflection to action. We talk about what we did in the past and we figure out how to keep going in the future. And then it breaks it down a little bit more. What can I do to improve my life, my relationship with God, and my relationship with others? And it's just a place for you to kind of, again, put that in writing of what you want to accomplish. And then this is the weekly spread. I will say my only downfall is I wish the lines were maybe a little wider, because I tend to have some chunky handwriting, and so that gets a little hard sometimes to fit in there. But there is a good amount of space, especially someone who's coming from a happy planner, and the vertical layout was always my favorite. So it still is kind of in my wheelhouse as far as doing that vertical layout, but you've got your notes, which is a good place I've found, to when you're writing stuff down in here that doesn't always have to go on a specific date, it just has to get done this week. This notes place is a really good place for something like that. And it splits it into day and night. I don't know if that's necessary, but it's there. And if you are one of those people where day and nights matter, the fact that this is a little bit darker helps your brain go, okay, once we transition here, then my brain automatically knows that happens after 5 p.m., 6 p.m., whatever your night is. So I think that's pretty cool. It's got a little place right here for MySpace, throwback to MySpace. I'm old. Some of you might not even get that joke of what MySpace is. And then it's got a great little area right here for healthy habit trackers. So those calls to action that you did down here at the bottom, for you, for God, for others, here's a good place to hold yourself accountable for them. You just write it up here and then check it off as you do it each day. It's a great visual way to hold yourself accountable for the things that you challenged yourself to do. And so it goes on for, all of this. I was going to show you. So I am not a social planner. My planner is like legit hardcore, gets used kind of thing. I'm like, I love the idea of decorating my planner, but sometimes, I'm just keeping it real, the decorating gets in the way of all the stuff I have to do. And so mine, just keeping it real, honestly always looks like chicken scratch, like this. Here's just a place where I worked on some notes from service, and I'm going to show you just a couple things that I did that was different. There was one week where I just had a lot of little things to do, and this happened to be one. Some of them I didn't go back and check off, but I felt like I was really having a hard time focusing in our service that day. And so I was like, I kind of used this as a brain dump, for lack of a better word, just as things came to mind of, oh, I've got to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, rather than trying to remember it, because we know I ain't gonna. I just wrote it out and said, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And then I kind of brain dumped for a second, and then I was kind of able to go back. And it really did help to kind of free my brain up a little bit, because I could maybe every 5-10 minutes, something might come into my brain that would distract me from the service. I could be like, write it down, let it go. You don't have to remember it, you'll get to it later. And that was super helpful for me on that particular day. I also did, I did this, because why not? And I don't know when you're watching this, but we're in the middle of the pandemic, or towards the end, nobody really knows. And we kind of were in that middle of quarantine and social isolation and kind of being away from people and all this kind of stuff. And I wanted to refocus myself a little bit. And rather than be so sad about the things that we've lost, the vacations we didn't get to go on, being sad of just how many people have lost their life, how many people are out of work and struggling, all of the negative things that have come along with this pandemic. I wanted to take a time to recenter myself and think about the things that I gained while we were in quarantine. So I built this little box. Apparently I did it on April 29th. And I just really thought about, what did we do that was good? What was better about this? I called it Corn Yay, and the upside of self-isolation, and just that we have more free time because we're not going anywhere. I'm not having to take kids to lessons and that kind of stuff. I could get more runs, movie nights. We love a good movie night. There are days we've stayed in our PJs all day. Family time, and I did, my husband and I, as the ice cream cones, and our kids as 3 little scoops, because why not? More sleep. That's been interesting. I mean, more than 6 hours of sleep at night has been kind of glorious. We've gotten very into making fancy cakes during quarantine. We got a bulldog, which I will put a picture of him at the end of this so you can see what he really looks like. His name is Bubba. And we actually unintentionally got him about 4 or 5 days before school kind of shut down, before everything kind of shut down. So it's kind of funny that this is the only life he's ever known with all of his people here. And we've done takeout, which we don't typically do, but we've wanted to support local businesses, and it's just been fun for the kids to each have a chance to pick, where we're going to eat today. And so I kind of like this because it gave me the space to do that, but I didn't have to do it in a different binder or a different folder or a different notebook. And I always keep my planners, partially because I'm a weirdo, but by having this area that they have, it's a great way to keep it as a journal, as documenting what life is going on. And so I think that's just super, super cool. And you can kind of see, this is this week, I kind of lost it for a little bit, so I don't have my sermon notes in here, because I tend to lose stuff. I can document my runs, I can document this and that and that. So it's just fun. It's a really great alternative if you're one of those people that doesn't like to carry around multiple things. It's a great place for your sketching, your kind of mind dumping on those blank pages, your scheduling, your monthly scheduling, your weekly scheduling, and your sermon notes, your habit trackers, all of those things very much all in one place. And so that's one reason I thought it was super cool, and it is Christ-centered, so it definitely understands the importance of sermon notes and having scriptures, and super cool. It's actually American made, and it's veteran owned, which is super, super cool, and I always loved. So that is the actual planner, and it kind of looks like that. I did just recently buy this other one that they came out with, and you guys all know how I feel about undated planners. This one is a little bit smaller. It's a 5 by 8.5, and I'll put it on top of this one so you kind of get an idea of I didn't mean to go Christmas with red and green, but I kind of did. But this one, of course, has the little thing and the 2 little ribbons. But what's different about this one's more intended to be if you're one of those people that just gets a rush of ideas, or you never know where you're going to be when you do your devotionals. So this little book is meant to be the thing that you carry with you at all times. Maybe you don't take your planner everywhere you go, but it's meant to get you focused, hence the name, Faith and Focus. And so I haven't actually done anything in it yet, but it very much is about focusing your life. And so if you're one of those people that struggles with focus and remembering, maybe goals, or having just not being able to kind of keep things organized when it comes to long-term goals, because I know that's super hard. Like if you say, I want to run a marathon in a year, well, that's easy to say, but how do you get there? Well, this book is all about saying, okay, let's take the year a quarter at a time. So this is actually meant to be 3 months. It's undated, which y'all know how I feel about that, but I'm going to try it. But it just says, okay, what do I want to do in 3 years? What are my top 5 goals for this year? All right, in the first quarter, here's my 3 goals. How do I get there? And I love the idea that it takes it, okay, let's take this huge goal, maybe this 3-year goal, maybe this 1-year goal, and says, let's break it down just into these little nuggets. Okay, here's goal number 1. I want to run a marathon. Okay, so in order to do that by this date next year, I need to have run this. I need to have done this, and then it says, okay, you can do it one of 2 ways. Either you can put a date in there and say, I need to do it by this date, or for remembering's sake, you can go back in later and say, I did it on this date. It's kind of however you want. There's a start date and end date to the quarter. And so, habits I want to start, habits I want to stop. I got a few of those. And so we're going to flip to the next page. Again, it talks about weekly focus. It says every Sunday, review your quarterly goals and milestones and identify your top priorities for the coming week. Write it below and transfer it to your Sunday page. So this again is all about going, okay, here's my quarter goals. I apologize, guys. I don't know why my camera's flickering so weirdly today. And then again, let's take those quarterly goals and let's break those down into nuggets of what do I need to do this week? Not a month from now, not 6 months from now. What do I need to do this week in order to help reach that big goal? And I think that is super great. And of course, it's got the little doxology. And again, this is the part I hate, just keeping it real, about undated planners, because never fails. I'm the one that starts dating it, and I dated it incorrectly. But again, I'm trying to try. So I'll go in and fill this. I just got this a couple weeks ago, and I didn't want to start in the middle of a month, so I think I'm going to start June 1 in this little guy. And then we're just going to start. It's all about, okay, what are we doing for the month? We've got personal, we've got professional, which both super important. And then, of course, the Big Mac Daddy spot is for spiritual goals. And we're going to just work on those. And then it kind of, so it lets you fill out all of those for the 3 months. Remember, this is just for a quarter, so it's just 3 months. So you'll obviously fill out quarter 1. Oh, hey, there's the notes I was looking for earlier. Quarter 1, and then we got Monday, and then we start our first day. So I guess you could start on a Sunday. I don't know how that would work, because if the month doesn't start on a Sunday, I don't know. I guess I could figure out if I wanted to start on actual June 1st or the first Sunday before June 1st. I don't know. But again, it gives you space for how I saw God working last week. So let's reflect. How can I rest today? Can we just talk about how important that is and how often we don't do it? Prayer for the week, and then the verse of the week, which I think is really great to help you kind of focus on what's going on in your week. Another place for sermon notes. It says sermon notes or journaling space, and you might not be able to tell, but it has the dot format. So if you're a bullet journaler or a doodler, you can kind of use that as you kind of see fit. And then it tells you on Sunday, again, let's focus. What's our week? What are our top 5 goals? And what's super great is the intention is for you to, I'm gonna flip back here. So all your quarter goals. All right, 14 weeks in a quarter. What are my goals for each Sunday? Because it starts on Sunday. So on week 1, I'm gonna come here and say, okay, week 1, my goal was to do whatever. I don't know how to pick. So we transfer that here to week 1. and then go, okay, so in order to meet this weekly week 1 goal, here's the things I need to do. Awesome. Task list, if it's very specific, like buy new running shoes. Ding. Or I'm a runner. Y'all know I tend to talk about running a lot because that's what's in my brain. And it just keeps going. So same with Monday. So Sunday's all about a day of rest and just focusing. And then Monday gets into the nitty-gritty so you can use this as a planner. So you can see it's got the times of the day, and it's very specific. I mean, and it is definitely about focusing on your faith. It says, here's this, remember to pray, remember to have gratitude, remember to praise. Tasks, action, morning routines, things to think about. So what do we pray for in the morning? What do we have gratitude for at noon? And what praise can we give God at the end of the day? More notes in dot form, so you can do sermon notes or Bible study notes, or just doodles and notes, maybe a brain dump. And every day kind of goes on like that. So this one's a little intimidating for me, just keeping it real, because I'm not 100% sure the best way to use it to get the best to get the best use of it, I guess is the word I'm trying to figure out. Also, one thing that's different between the two is that this paper is a 60-pound weight, so you kind of have to, I thought I tested a Sharpie somewhere, and I can't remember where I did it. Test a couple of markers out, because Sharpies don't really work very well on them. This one is just the flare pins, and I didn't have any bleed through on that, but I remember testing a Sharpie somewhere, and now right here. There we go. So I tested a few markers, so the Micron, the Flare, the Sharpie Ultrafine, and the InkJoy Gel, and you can definitely see that the Sharpie had some breakthrough, some bleed through, and the gel has a little bit more of a shadow than the other two, but the other two were fine. So Micron and Flares are great to use in this. The other planner, which is this one, has an 80-pound weight, so you can get away with a little bit more. Some things say 80, some say 100, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. But either way, you can get away with those heavier markers, and maybe even a really light wet medium, like a watercolor, if you want to do that kind of thing in your planner, if that's your jam. So I will put this stuff down in the notes, and for anyone thinking that it's like an affiliate link or I'm going to make anything of this, I'm not. They were just things that I came across that I thought were great and that I thought would be useful for anyone who is struggling maybe to find their focus or to stay organized, or just got tired of carrying around a thing for your sermon notes, a thing for your brain dump, a thing for your planner, a thing for your habit tracker, or just felt like you maybe didn't want to pony up the money for some other brands that required you to buy all those individually. I thought this was a super great compromise. I'm trying to remember how much I paid for it. I want to say it was like $30 or $35 for the planner, and $27? I can't remember. For this one, I apologize, I can't remember the exact price. I should have looked that up. But check them out, christianplanner.com. And again, I apologize for whatever weird things my camera is doing right now, and I'm hoping it's not making anybody seasick. We'll figure out what's going on with that when I'm done here. So check them out. I hope you liked this video and it was helpful to you if it might be something that you were looking for with either one of these. So thanks so much, and I'll talk to you guys later.